Welcome to Real Talk Baseball. I am Will Power. With me is Javi the Commish. Today we're talking about struggling pitchers, struggling hitters. Elly Cruz makes his major league debut, and Week 11 preview, all coming up on Real Talk Fantasy Baseball. All right, starting off the show, I want to go through some news and notes. There's quite a bit, but it's not as much as we've had in the past. Julio Urias faced live hitters on Tuesday and is scheduled to make his return from the IL this Sunday at the Phillies, but we actually just heard news about an hour ago that has been scratched. So don't know what the Dodgers are going to do this Sunday, but it looks like he still has some hamstring tightness. So unfortunately, if you activated Julio Urias to start on Sunday, hopefully you still have that IL spot available because you're going to put him right back in there. Aaron Judge placed on the IL with a big toe sprain after running into the wall in right field. As a follow-up, the Dodgers have decided to add extra padding to their outfield wall. So I don't know if you saw that video. I don't have that video available, but he actually ran into like the bullpen gate. So like where you can like see the pitchers through the screen, through like the chain link fence. So that's actually what he ran through. So I don't know how they're going to put padding right there. It's like you want that part open so that way the bullpen can actually like see what's going on, right? I would assume.
Yeah. That's kind of weird.
Tony's in the show. What's up, Tony? Love these intros. Thanks, dog. Appreciate you, man. Let me know whenever you want to get on, dude. We'll send you the invites so you can get on. We could talk about all these bullshit trades that you're always trying to
Bro, you could get on right now, man.
For real. If you want to get on, let me know, man. I'll send you the link right now. Let's see. Nestor Cortez hits the IL with a left shoulder strain, has been shut down from throwing for at least 2 weeks. So that's probably going to be about a month that he's going to be out, which really sucks for the Yankees because they were actually starting to get on a little bit, better from the beginning of the season. They were really struggling at the beginning of the season. So now Aaron Judge on the IL, Nestor Cortez on the IL. Sucks for Yankees, sucks for Yankees fans, but, that's sports.
Yeah.
Brandon Woodruff has been transferred to the 60-day IL and has not progressed to mound work. So look for an early July return at the earliest. Jacob deGrom has finally decided to have Tommy John surgery after multiple IL stints spanning across the last few years. Now, dude, Jacob deGrom, I remember the first time that they said that he had like forearm inflammation. And everyone knows forearm inflammation for a pitcher, if it's in your pitching arm, which, usually it is, more than likely they're going to need Tommy John surgery. But the Mets are notorious for just making their injured players worse. I don't know what it is about the Mets, dude. It's like, look what happened to deGrom and Syndergaard. They're two top pitchers, two of the best pitchers in baseball a few years ago, and just riddled with injuries during their whole career.
That's insane, man. I when I saw the news, in a way I was kind of like, it's about time, but to me it shouldn't get to that point, man. Like having multiple IL stints throughout your career, that's a bad sign, man. That means that there's something really wrong with you that needs to get fixed. So I mean, it sucks for him, and it sucks for those that drafted deGrom. Because pretty sure they used a pretty high draft pick on him. So yeah, man, it sucks.
Yeah, it really does. I think he was actually going in like the third round because in a healthy season, deGrom could be the best overall pitcher in the whole league, but unfortunately with these injuries, you get him kind of at a little bit of a discount, third, fourth round, but look what happened. That's why guys like deGrom and Strasburg, another one that has been just riddled with injuries his whole career. Dude, 2019 when the Nationals won the World Series and he was like a big part of that. I'm so glad that happened for him because he was
Yeah.
supposed to be like the next big thing, that
Yeah.
was supposed to come up. Um, you know, doesn't matter what team he was on, he was supposed to be like the best pitcher of our generation. And
Yep.
he showed what he could do. He had
Yep.
amazing break on every breaking pitch and off speed pitch that he threw. A great fastball that was topping what, like 97, 98.
Oh,
He
it was
threw
up
really
there.
hard. And dude, he just couldn't stay healthy. Just another one of those guys that just couldn't stay healthy,
Dude, and then
unfortunately.
the fact that the Nationals gave him that big contract, oh
Mhm.
man, that hurts, dude.
An
That hurts.
uninsured contract. So the news keeps on coming out about all these players that are getting injured that have uninsured contracts. I don't really know what that means. I think I need to look that up and find out exactly what that means. Like insured. I always thought baseball money was guaranteed. Not like
I thought so too. Yeah.
not like in football where it's not always guaranteed.
Yeah.
Unless there's specific like a clause in the contract that talks about if you get hurt, then we're not going to pay you as much money or something like that. But I don't know. I guess
Yeah.
we'll see. Tony says DeGrom was not worth it. Yeah, man. I don't remember how much you paid for DeGrom. In the league that we had an auction draft, so I'm sure he went for a pretty good amount of money for the type of pitcher that
Mm,
he is. Um, Live and learn, man. Live and learn. Stay
yeah.
away from those.
You
Stay away
need
from
to.
those injury-prone players. It means you get some of your money back. Yeah, you wish, dude.
It
Dude,
don't work that way, bro.
it don't work that way, bruh. Fantasy baseball life is a gamble.
Word.
All right, moving on. Riley Green hits the IL for 6 to 8 weeks with a fractured left fibula. That sucks for Riley Green, that was actually starting to break out
Yeah,
this
he
season.
seemed like
He
he
was
was
a
starting
top
to put it
prospect.
together, man.
Yeah, he was
Yeah.
really starting to put things together. Top prospect a few years ago in the Detroit system, and he just hasn't panned out last year, and I think the previous year before that. And this season, he was actually fantasy relevant, and
Yeah.
it sucks to
Yep.
see him hit the IL, especially for this long. He's going to be out for about 2 months.
That's crazy.
Chris Bryant lands on his routine IL stint as he does every year.
Yep.
I think you have Chris Bryant. Is that right?
Yeah, I do. I do.
Yeah. I mean,
I didn't expect anything less.
when you draft, yeah, exactly. When you draft Chris Bryant, you're going to have a couple IL stints in there,
Yeah.
but you're also going to reap the benefits of him playing in Colorado now.
Yeah. Which even then, man, like I still feel like he hasn't really panned out, man. I mean, even when he's been healthy, I think like the beginning of the season, he it looked like he had put it together, and then he went on a slump, and then I don't think is this the second time he goes on the IL? I don't know. I
This
think he was
season,
day to day. Yeah, I think it was day to day for a while, and then he went to IL, something like that. But man, it just sucks because he's still young, man. Like
yeah, he's
I,
pretty young.
yeah,
That's why the Rockies gave him that big contract. What was it, like six
yeah,
years?
I believe so. Yeah, 6, 7 years, I think, something like
So
that.
they trade Arenado, don't even try to re-sign him. They trade Trevor Story, don't even try to re-sign him, and then they go out and get Chris Bryant that they know gets injured every single year for the
Yeah,
same amount of money that they could have paid, either one of
the
Story
other
or
two.
Arenado.
Yep, yep.
Stupid ass
Give me
Rockies.
give me Arenado all day.
Hell yeah.
Yep.
All right. Willie Adames was sent on a rehab assignment earlier this week and homered in his first game back to action. And he is in the Brewers lineup this week. And I believe he's already had 2 home runs. He's actually looking really good.
Ooh.
Before he hit the IL, he's been struggling a bit. But since he's returned, even though it's just been a few days, he's been producing. So look for him to finally get that jump start that he's been kind of waiting for.
Yeah.
Matt Chapman is day-to-day after having an infected toenail removed this past Tuesday.
Got to get them
Jose,
petties, man.
yeah, you got to stay on it.
Got to get them petties.
It's probably from taking a shower with all the freaking other players in the showers that they have.
Yeah,
Yeah,
maybe.
I mean, I see dudes all the time with slides on or sandals on, having a big ass fungus on random ass toes.
Nope.
Like, dude, that's pretty nasty. And then they just go
Yeah.
into the locker room like it's nothing. Like, take care of yourself, man.
Hell
It's
yeah.
not just about your body, the working out and everything. It's like you got to take care of your digits because
Your
Chris
hygiene,
Bryant
homie.
playing in the outfield,
Hygiene.
you got to be able to run around, out there and Matt Chapman at third base. We've known him as one of the best third base defenders in the league,
Yep.
and he needs that like quick twitch, reaction time to go either side. And if you got some pain in your foot, you're not going to be able to move as fast as you usually do.
Damn right. I
Jose
agree, bro.
Altuve missed 4 straight games with oblique soreness. I believe he's been back in the lineups lately. Cubs starting pitcher Justin Steele has hit the IL with a forearm strain. Should only require the minimum, which really sucks because Justin Steele has actually been pretty decent this year.
Yeah, he has been
Kind of
one of
out of nowhere.
one of the more consistent pitchers on the Cubs besides Stroman.
Yeah.
So
Did you
yeah,
see
that
the
kind of
video of
sucks.
Stroman striking out Juan Soto?
No,
So
I
he
didn't.
did a little like a little shuffle.
Oh,
It
I heard
was
about that. I
yeah.
heard about that. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Isn't that
Yeah, I
what
mean,
Soto does or
yeah.
something?
Well, it was a little bit different. I
Right,
don't know.
right.
To me it looked like very awkward what Stroman tried to do. And in my head, I'm thinking like, look, man, you used to be good like 5 years ago, but you haven't done
Yeah,
shit in the last 4 years. And now
yeah,
that all of a sudden you're pitching good again, you want to showboat? Like, come on,
yeah.
man.
Yeah, yeah. Be humble, homie.
I'm all for
Be humble.
showboating, but if you deserve it, if you deserve to showboat, And this season he's
Hmm.
been pretty good. He hasn't been bad at all, but I don't
Yeah.
know. Juan Soto's a much better player than Stroman is. So to
I'm
kind of like,
expecting some kind of regression.
yeah,
I'm
probably.
expecting it.
Yeah. I wouldn't imagine that Stroman's going to be a top 30 pitcher rest of season.
Nah, I don't
Let's
see
see
it.
what Tony says. The fungus toe, the toe fungus. All right, let's go back to the notes. Byron Buxton, after you just mentioned his name, hits the IL after being
Dude,
hit by the pitch on the ribs last Saturday. Hopefully,
dude,
it'll only be
we were
a
just
quick
talking about
IL
that.
stint. Yeah, hopefully it'll be
Yeah,
quick.
that's
All right,
crazy.
so this
Yeah,
is the big one right here. Alek Manoah has been optioned back to the Florida Complex League. Now, that's not AAA. That is not
that's the
Double
rookie
A.
ball, bro.
That is rookie
That's
ball.
that. Yup. What up,
Let's see.
Tony?
Alek Manoah struggles. And let's see. I got a little here we go. There we go. So he has a 1-7 record in 13 starts this season. So for people don't know what that 1-7 means, it means that he only has 1 win and 7 losses. And 5 no contests. So 6.36 ERA, a 6.80 expected ERA. His K percentage is down 6% from last season. His walk ratio is up 8.4% from last season. Oh man, Alek Manoah, who
Yeah.
was probably drafted in the second round in most drafts, most standard drafts, and dude, he's looked like the worst pitcher in baseball this season.
Bro, I'm this was a shocker to me. Like big shocker cuz he was like all-star, right? Last season?
Yeah,
Yeah, he was in the all-star
all-star.
game,
He was
man. Like,
Cy Young talks.
dude,
There was a lot of hype about him.
he had a 2.24 ERA last season, bro.
Yeah,
Like, you
you
know
know
how
what
hard
though?
that is?
Yeah,
Jeez.
it's one thing to have like a high twos ERA, but to have like a low twos ERA, 2.24 ERA last season. Walk ratio was at 6.5. This season, it's at a 14.9. That is freaking
Jesus.
crazy, dude.
That's insane, man.
K percentage last year was at a 22.9%. It's at 17 this year. He was getting hit really hard, has a 43.3% hard hit rate against him, a 286 expected batting average against him. Just this guy just fell apart this season.
Yeah.
And I actually do have a couple of notes on Manoah. So His velocity is down about 1 mile an hour on every pitch that he has. The pitch movement is about an inch less than it was in 2022. So he has a pretty decent pitch mix. He throws a sinker, a slider, a four seam, and a change. And on that sinker and slider, you want to see a lot of movement on those. But
Yeah.
because he wasn't really throwing it with authority, there was less movement and a little bit of a velocity drop. It just wasn't getting those swings and misses like we were seeing last season.
Right.
His he has a the exit velocity on his pitches off of bats was up 2 miles an hour this season. He has a career low zone percentage. So throwing it in the zone, he has a career low. So that would explain the walks right there.
Right.
A career low chase rate. If you don't have that command with your fastball, no one's going to chase things out the zone when it's a 3-0 count, you know.
Yeah. Yeah.
Almost one walk per inning, less than one strikeout per inning. That was the big one for me because last season he was known as a strikeout pitcher. He had more than a strikeout per inning. And this season it was less than a strikeout per inning, not even one per inning. More than one hit per inning pitched and almost one earned run per inning pitched. So the whiff rate on the slider actually wasn't too bad this season. It's at a 26.6%. And on the four seam, it was a 23.8%. But his sinker was actually getting hit pretty hard. There was expected batting average of 308 and expected slug of 514. 13.4% whiff rate on the sinker, which you're not really throwing your sinker for whiffs anyway. You're more looking to get like that ground balls. And I think he was throwing it a lot more, trying to induce those ground balls because he wasn't getting the strikeouts. But so let's talk about the future of Alek Manoah. 25 years old, 6'6", 285, big dude. Honestly, we were kind of talking about him before the show.
Yeah.
So let me know what you think.
So check this out. I read somewhere where it said that that they're gonna. I think they're trying to go through 2 turns in the rotation to bring him back. I think he needs more time. And right now that we're talking about, the future of Manoa and stuff like that, the dude is young. But I honestly feel, and I feel like a lot of people don't talk about this. This guy is big. He is 285, man. Think about that. 285, and you're a pitcher. Like, like the movement. I don't know. Like I've never pitched a day in my life, right? But I feel like if you're a big guy like that and you're pitching, your motion, on making these pitches is a big thing. It's a big deal. And I feel like, your weight plays a vital role in that. Like I think this dude was like 260 when he came into the league. He's gone up 25 pounds, dude. Like, put that into fucking perspective. That's a lot of
Yeah.
weight. That's
A lot of
25
times
pounds.
when pitchers are trying when pitchers gain weight, they somewhat do it on purpose to try to get some extra weight behind their pitches so that
Right.
way they can
Right.
throw a little bit harder. But this dude
Mhm.
was already 260.
That's
That's
big.
that's
Like
a big
it,
dude.
dude, it's I don't want to say it's unheard of, but it kind of is. Like, you don't see many pitchers that are over 230, 220. I
And
mean,
definitely not in their 20s, definitely
no
not 25
way.
years old. Like we
I
were
just
talking about
uh
Bartolo Colon, earlier
yeah,
before
yep.
the show. And guys like that, that are pushing 40, he's I understand why those guys are a little bit on the bigger side,
Oh, yep,
Let's
yep.
see. Tony saying CC Sabathia was a
Yeah,
big
that's
pitcher.
another one.
True
Yep,
story, man. But when he was
yep.
younger, CC Sabathia was in really good shape. He
Yes,
didn't
he
really
was
gain all that extra weight until later on
until
in
he
his
was
career.
older.
Yeah,
Yes,
until he was
sir.
older.
Yep.
Alek Manoah at 25 years old, I think the Blue Jays need to do with him what they did with Vlad and make him lose a little bit of weight, get him
Word.
lighter on his feet.
Dude, that comparison with Vlad is a perfect example of what I feel the Blue Jays need to do with this guy. I mean, when you saw Vlad in the come into the league, he was a big guy. He was a big dude. And then, it didn't really affect him because he still played really good. and he was hitting the ball out of the ballpark. But I'm thinking during the offseason he was, they told him, "You look, dude, you're young, you got to maintain yourself. We want you for the long run. We don't want you to get injured." And the guy took it to heart and he put in the work in the gym and he lost weight, dude. And he's still hitting like he was hitting last season. So to me, if they're looking at Manoa as a future, their future ace and whatnot, or just overall just to help the team out, man, I think they really need to buckle down and get this guy, you know, like help, like in the gym and like the diet and stuff like that. Like I've never been part of a baseball team or whatnot, but I'm assuming they got a staff that can help him out with all these things, and I feel
Oh
like
yeah, for sure.
him going down to like rookie ball, like that sucks, dude. After being an all-star caliber player last season, and they're shooting you down to rookie level ball. I mean, if I was Manoa, I'd be like, dude, this is like a slap in the face. I need to get my shit together. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I hope he does, man, because the dude's got potential, man. He has a lot of potential, and he plays in a pitcher friendly ballpark. I
Yeah.
mean, come on, you know.
In a
But
very hard hitting division as well.
yeah,
You got some
yeah,
powerhouses in the AL East that could literally rip the cover off the ball.
mhm.
Let's see. Ernie from our Monday show actually commented. Thanks for joining us, Ernie. Stroman, the
What
hottest
up,
pitcher in
Ernie?
MLB right now. He's definitely one of them, but I still think that he has some more to prove before he starts showboating, especially against guys like Soto. When you're showboating against players of that type of caliber, the Cubs fans are going to be really happy, with Stroman, but the rest of MLB is just kind of gonna laugh at you a little bit. Maybe fantasy owners are kind of be like on the Cubs side too, and just be like,
Yeah,
oh, you know. But yeah, whatever. I don't know. I've always had. I really liked Marcus Stroman when he was in the World Baseball Classic a few years ago, and I
yeah,
was like, oh shit, this guy's like legit. And then he comes
yeah,
to MLB, and he was more like a number three.
yeah.
He
I agree.
showed that he has number one potential in the World Baseball Classic. But then, when what team was he on? I think he was on Toronto back then, and
Hmm.
he
Yep.
just I don't know. He never really like stood out to me. I drafted him after I saw him in the WBC, and he kind of turned me off about him, after that season. So,
Yeah.
um, enjoy it while it lasts. If Stroman's on your team, I really don't think that he's going to be able to sustain the type of production that he's been doing this season.
Sell high. Sell
Yeah,
high.
sell high, definitely sell high.
Hey.
Um, there are so many struggling pitchers that I would rather have than Marcus Stroman right now, or even hitters. Go after like a Trey Turner. Um,
Hmm.
we can actually talk about Trey Turner next because Trey Turner. I don't know what the hell is going on with this guy this season. Batting average at 237, expected at 250.
Yeah.
OPS is 671. These are all career lows for him. K percentage is up 5.3% from 2022. Barrel rate is down 1% from 2022. Uh, Home runs and stolen bases actually don't look too bad. Um, I don't know why the Phillies are putting him to bat cleanup or number three. With
Yeah, I don't understand that either.
when you have Kyle Schwarber leading
Hmm.
off. I really don't understand that when
Yeah.
Trey Turner is one of the fastest
He
guys
thrives.
in
He
Major League
thrives.
Baseball
Yeah, he
who could
thrives at the top of that lineup,
he
man.
could easily hit 50 stolen bases every
Mm.
season.
Yep.
And they have him, trying to focus more on hitting RBIs rather than just getting on base. Maybe that's the
Right.
problem that Trey Turner's having right now is they're taking him out of his element as that
Hmm.
type of hitter that's just trying to get on base, and now
Yeah.
they're trying to make him like an RBI producer instead of a run producer.
Yeah, that sucks.
This guy
Mhm.
has been known for being a 300 plus hitter every single season. I believe out of his whole career, he's had 2 seasons where he batted under 300, and even those 2 seasons, it was at a 298. So he's like a career like 320 hitter before this season started. Now that actually changed. It brought down his career numbers to about like a 302, I think.
Damn.
So
Yeah.
crazy shit, man.
I get I get I get questions about this guy at work all the time, dude. Hey man, I thought we were gonna get a good player, he came from the Dodgers, this is and
Mm.
that. And I was like, give him some time, man. A new team, new ballpark, that might, be what might be affecting him. But I mean, a lot of the stuff that you said right now also makes a lot of sense. You know, I'd rather have this guy right at the top of my lineup because he's gonna get on base. He's gonna give you um he's gonna be able to provide, runs, just being on base, man. Like especially now that the bases are bigger, stolen bases are up everywhere.
Mhm.
I mean, it's like you said, you gotta use this dude to his strengths. And if you put him at cleanup, it's kind of weird, man. Like I'm not used to seeing him there.
He's not a cleanup hitter.
He's not.
He's not a guy that's gonna hit 35 home runs.
No,
He'll
he's
be
not.
lucky to hit 25.
Yep. And I'd rather him hit between 15 and 20 and give me like a batting average of close to 300 with I don't know how many damn stolen bases. I'd rather him do all the little things that he can do than give me RBIs or try to hit home runs for me. You
But
know?
in baseball, your offense is trying to create runs, right?
Yeah.
You want to create runs scored.
Yep.
Now, Kyle Schwarber in the leadoff position for the Phillies is probably going to have about 85 runs scored at the end of the season. You
Mhm.
put Trey Turner in the leadoff position, guaranteed he's going to have over 100 runs scored.
Yeah. I
Why
agree.
would you put like 25 less runs in a position when you have this amazing leadoff hitter right in
Yeah.
front of you? And even if you don't have him lead off, that's fine. You want to put Alec Boehm at leadoff or Scott, what's his name?
Bryson Stott.
Bryson Stott. There you go.
Hmm. Yeah.
You want to put him lead off, because they have their little hot streaks. That's cool. But you put Trey Turner number 2. You don't
Yeah.
put Trey Turner, a guy that will probably hit about 20, less than 25 home runs in the cleanup spot. That just it doesn't make any sense.
It
I don't know
doesn't.
if that's coming from the manager or if that's
Mhm.
coming from above. That's just the direction of the Phillies, what they want to do.
Maybe they feel because the big contract and one of the best players in baseball, we gotta have him hit home runs. Like
Mm.
that'll bring the fans. And I'm
But
like,
I feel like the rest of the league, like look at the Rays. Why are the Rays winning right now? Because they're playing small ball.
exactly.
A lot of small ball. They get on
That's
base, they
that's
move
that's the
runners over.
Kahlo that's the Kahlo element. He always talks about small ball, dude.
Mhm.
It's crazy. You
And
know.
honestly, I think if the Phillies take a page out of the Rays book, they're going to start winning a lot more games. They're under 500 right now, and
Yep.
they're in basically in the same position that they were last season when it comes to record, but they have a lot less runs scored, total runs scored compared to last season at this time.
Yeah. And
So,
their lineup is really good, man. And the only thing, with the Phillies, their pitching has been kind of up and down all season.
yeah,
But it's like you said, if the Phillies can get to playing small ball, I think you plug your players into where their strengths are, and for Trey, dude, his strength has always been at the top of that lineup, dude.
yep.
Everywhere he's played at the top of the
Get on
lineup,
base,
that's
steal
where he does
second.
his damage, dude. I
Yeah,
mean, I don't know. I don't know. I don't know what they're thinking, but hopefully, he can turn it around because Trey Turner is a great player, man.
yeah,
He's a top 5 player, dude. In my
yeah.
opinion, he's a top
He
5
was
player right
drafted
now.
number 1 overall in most
Yep.
leagues,
Yep.
in most category leagues especially, and points leagues, because he's way
Yep.
up there,
Yep.
way up there in points scored and, stolen bases and runs scored, and I think the
Yeah.
Phillies are really messing, with what they shouldn't.
Yeah.
All
Yep.
right, moving on. Let's see, we had Manoah. Let's go. Let's move on to this guy right here, Shane Bieber. Okay. 4-3 and 13 stars. Now, this is a former Cy Young winner. In 2020, he was a Cy Young winner. ERA is at a 3.57. Expected ERA 4.89.
Damn.
That's really bad.
Yeah, it
K
is.
percentage is 16.3%. That's down 8.7% from 2022. It's down 17% from 2021.
Right.
That is insane, man. When he used to
Yeah.
be one of the best strikeout pitchers in all of baseball, and then now he's 29 years old. He's super young. So I
Yeah.
don't understand where the velocity drop. He's down 3 miles an hour from 2020. Where is this velocity drop coming from?
That yeah, it's crazy to think how many do you remember when this guy used to strike out a shit ton of fucking hitters, bro?
Yeah, it's like every
And
game he's striking out 10. I think he actually had like 6 games in a row where he had 10 strikeouts or more.
it's crazy. And the fact that he's 29, um, there's something going on, right?
He's
And
28. Sorry.
so I kind of
Makes it
feel
even
like,
worse.
you know, I don't want to say it has anything to do with the pitch clock. Um, I might I I think it might have to do with, you know how they've been like modifying the stuff that the pitchers can use to grip
The
their
sticky stuff.
hands. Yeah. So I feel like that has affected this guy.
It is highly
So
possible.
yeah, I was, I was looking at some of his stats, and in 2020, dude, he was hitting 94 mile per hour fastball. Um, and then they started messing with the substances, right, that the pitchers can use. And after they did it, I think they've modified it maybe like two or three times. I'm not sure. But after that, his fastball went from a 94 to a 92.8. And then they did it again. They were messing with the stuff that you can rub on your hands or whatnot, and it dropped to 91.3, right? And I was like, dude, can it honestly be because the guy can't, the grip? I know grip is a big thing for pitchers. I
Oh,
understand
yeah.
that.
Oh, yeah.
So I'm thinking maybe this has to do with his pitches not being as effective as they used to be. Um, what does he have? He has a cutter too, slowed down consistently. And I think that his fastball and his cutter are like where his bread and butter. Like that.
Oh,
That's
yeah.
what. Yeah, that's what he would
Both
go
of
with.
those are down, about 3 miles an hour.
Yeah, and that, I mean, for a pitcher of his caliber, that's a big deal. So I mean, his stats aren't horrible, but they're not Cy Young caliber stats,
Right.
right?
I mean,
Like
when you're
that, what we
throwing
would expect,
91 miles an hour, it's like you're not gonna be the Cy Young type of pitcher
No
that,
way,
that
no
you once
way.
were, unless you have amazing command with it. Like Kershaw. Kershaw
Hmm.
throws 91 miles an hour, sometimes even 89 miles an hour.
Yep,
On
yep,
average, it's about between 89 and 91. But he is such a good pitcher, not a thrower, an
yep.
actual pitcher, that he can still recreate, the magic that he's had his entire
Yeah.
career. Guys
He,
like Shane
yep.
Bieber that relied on that 94 mile an hour velocity on his fastball. So in 2020, he was getting 25.4% whiffs on his 94 mile an hour fastball. This season, with the 91.2 mile an hour fastball, he's only at a 6.5%. That's
Damn,
almost a 20% drop in
that's
whiff rate
crazy.
on his fastball.
No.
The cutter, the whiff rate has only dropped 3%. So that one's actually not so bad. Even though the velocity dropped a little bit, the movement is still there.
Yeah.
Um, the curveball still looks pretty good. The slider still looks pretty good, and the changeup still looks pretty good. It's just his fastball is just getting hit so hard. Um, Batters are actually batting 316 against his fastball with an expected batting average of 337,
Damn.
456 slug. The cutter is actually getting hit pretty hard too. So I don't know what's going on with Shane Bieber. It could be something similar to what we saw with Corey Kluber towards the end of his Cleveland career. Maybe
Hmm.
Cleveland's just not very good with developing their starting pitchers, and when
Yeah.
they don't know how to fix them.
Right.
What
Yeah,
Shane
I
Bieber
could
needs
see
to
that.
do. What Shane Bieber needs to do is go to the Rays, because the Rays can fix any pitcher. Look at Zach Eflin.
Yo, yeah. Oh my God, that is surprising. I mean, Eflin's always been like mid, you
Yeah,
know.
he's been a number 3. This season,
Yeah,
he's looking
and
like a number 1.
dude, that's insane, man. That's a great comparison, bro. Holy shit, I forgot about Eflin.
Oh, I'll never
Dang.
forget about Eflin.
Yeah, what?
Dude,
Because you have him.
I got him in both of my leagues.
You asshole. Dude, it's yeah, man. Yeah, it sucks, bro. I was looking at some other stats on Bieber, dude. Like 6.9 Ks per 9 innings this season, as opposed to 2021, he was at 12.5 Ks. 2022, 14.2. Bro, come on, that's huge.
That's a
That's
significant difference.
Dude, that is huge, man. And now that now that we're talking about Bieber, and him being on a different team, this is one of those guys that is up there right now on as trade, for
Yeah,
trade talks.
there's a lot of Shane Bieber talks
Yeah,
in trades right now going around. There's actually been multiple GMs from different teams that
hmm
have said that Shane Bieber will definitely be traded by the deadline this season. The
yeah,
Guardians are probably not going to do anything this season. They're probably not going to make the playoffs. They've been
yeah,
kind of crappy. They're one of the easiest teams to stream against. So that's actually one of the things that you want to look for when you're streaming starting
yeah,
pitchers. If they're facing the Guardians, it's usually going to be a good matchup.
yeah,
Detroit's a
yeah.
good matchup. The good matchups from last year are not necessarily the same. The
No,
Orioles were a good matchup last year. They're not this year. The
no, they're
Diamondbacks were a good matchup last year. They're not this year. The
yep,
the Marlins were a good matchup last year. They're not really this year. They still are, but they're not as an easy team to beat that they were last year. The Reds, look at the Reds, man. The Reds
yo,
offense is
they dude,
incredible. They
they
have
beat they
so
beat the
many
Dodgers. They
rookies.
took they
Yeah,
took the series against the
they took
Dodgers,
2 out of
bro.
3 from the Dodgers,
That's
and
crazy.
the Dodgers do have a struggling starting pitching staff, which we can talk about Syndergaard in a moment. But dude, the Reds, they have so many different tools on that team. And
Yeah.
this next guy that we can talk about, Elly De La Cruz.
Mm,
Dude, this guy, major league debut, his first game, he had 2 walks and he had a double hit 112 miles an hour. That is the hardest hit ball by any Reds player this season.
yeah.
Freaking insane.
Yep.
This guy is primed to be future MVP, multiple MVPs. I really don't even know what else to say about this guy. He already has let me try to find it real quick. He has 3 balls hit over 100 miles an hour, and he's only played 3 games so far.
That's crazy.
That is freaking insane, dude.
Oh man, he wants to hit that ball out the ballpark,
Dude,
man.
did you see his home run in game 2?
I did. That
Oh
shit
my
was
god.
what is that?
That was a
450 what?
monster shot.
450 something?
458,
Jesus.
114.8 miles an hour.
That's crazy.
And he's
Yeah,
a switch hitter. He's a switch hitter.
yo.
He's a freaking
Okay,
switch
see,
hitter.
I didn't know that.
O'Neal Cruz has been touted as like one of the best, hitting prospects of the generation. And Elly
Mhm.
De La Cruz has been compared to O'Neal Cruz a lot. Um,
Right.
just this past season, with his debut coming up, I would much rather have Elly De La Cruz on my team rather than O'Neal Cruz. Injury
Right.
or not, you know,
Right.
Elly De La Cruz has amazing contact skills. He does strike out a lot. He strikes
Yeah.
out at above 30%. But if you're going to produce 40 home runs and 40 doubles every season, I don't care if you strike out 30% of the time.
Right.
You
Yep.
know,
That's
it
probably the one time that you're like, all right, kid, you can strike out. It's cool. Just give me the home runs, give me
his
the
his
run.
strikeout rate is very similar to Joey Gallo, right?
Mm,
But
mhm.
Elly De La Cruz hit 324 in the AAA, whereas Joey Gallo, when he was in AAA, was hitting closer to like 250.
Right.
That's a huge difference right
Yeah,
there.
that's a big difference. Yep.
And his 2 walks in his debut show that he actually does have some plate discipline.
Right.
He's not going up there just trying to hit the ball as hard as he can every single time.
Yeah.
He actually does have some patience up there, which is amazing to see in a 21-year-old rookie, especially coming out of the Reds system.
Oh yeah. Most of these guys want to hit the ball out of out of the ballpark, and they're just striking out left and right.
This guy is like an Aaron Judge type, where all he has to do is just put the bat on the ball and it's gonna fly.
Right.
He is huge. I want to say he's like 6'5". Let me see. He's 6'5", only 200 pounds. So he
Damn.
doesn't really like he doesn't have that massive body that Aaron
But
Judge does, but 6'5", he's only 21 years old, so he's definitely going to put on some muscle in the next
yeah,
couple years. He's going to get into his man strength years, and we're
yeah,
probably going to see him hit probably like 210, 215, add about 10, 15 pounds of muscle.
that's crazy. Can you imagine that? How hard he's hitting the ball right now, as opposed to a couple years down the line with added muscle. Oh shit!
I know. The
Watch
Reds
out,
are
man.
also talking about trading Jonathan India. If they can trade Jonathan India for, let's say, Shane Bieber, right?
Mm,
I think
mm,
that's actually a pretty good comp right there. I
yeah,
think that the Reds would also have to give a prospect or two
right.
along with Jonathan India, but
Yeah,
the Reds need starting pitching
yeah,
with the
yeah,
type of lineup that they have, or even the Orioles, dude. The Orioles could really use some starting pitching too. They have
yeah.
some decent pitchers, but they really need like that spark plug. And even though Shane Bieber hasn't been like the Cy Young type of player that we've seen in the past, he's still usable. So if I
Right.
have Shane Bieber on my team, I'm still starting him every single matchup. I
Not
don't
only
care who
that,
he's facing.
not
I
only that, he's a veteran, dude. You
Yeah,
know, you could bring a veteran presence to a young team like that. I mean, whoa! Sometimes teams that are up and coming, or that have a lot of young players, all they need is that one dude in the locker room that has been there before. That knows what it takes.
yeah.
And that'd be awesome. Damn.
I'm a big believer in contract seasons for players that
Yeah.
they usually like put that extra effort in to try to get that big contract at the end of the
Right.
season. And I believe Shane Bieber's a free agent after this season.
Yep. That's
So
crazy.
I don't know. I really think that Shane Bieber is going to turn things around. I don't think that this is the Shane Bieber that we're going to see rest of season.
No, me neither. He's still young, dude, and maybe being on a different team. You know what we always say? Maybe being on a different team, maybe that's the spark that he needs. You know, but hopefully, he can turn it around, because he's still young, and he's still a great pitcher. You
Yeah,
know,
he is. He is. He shows some spots of greatness, but the strikeouts, man, the strikeouts are
yeah,
way down. I think that's the one thing that he really needs to focus on. Don't try to. I mean, I'm not a pitching coach, but don't
yeah,
worry about your trying to put that extra velocity on your fastball because you're just going to get hurt.
yeah,
Let's fix those mechanics. And I don't know if the Guardians actually have the coaching staff to bring out the best in a guy like Shane Bieber.
all right,
I
I
don't think the
agree.
Orioles do either. They're not really the best at developing their pitching.
No, nope,
All
they're
right.
not.
Okay, we did Manoa, Bieber, and the last one that I don't think I made a edit for Noah Syndergaard. Noah Syndergaard is just he is completely droppable. Don't even put him in your IL if you have him. Just drop him. No one's gonna pick him up. Um, he's gonna have to do some rehab assignments before he gets off the IL. But honestly, for the last like 3 seasons now, Noah Syndergaard hasn't been anything more than a streaming option, in my opinion.
Yeah,
You want to throw him as a streamer against, a weak lineup. I think that's okay, except for right now because his ERA is above 6. I think there's a lot of things that Syndergaard needs to work on. And the Dodgers are actually very good at developing their pitching staff. So
yeah,
if the Dodgers can't get it done, I feel like
man.
Syndergaard may be just at the end of his
It
career.
sucks, man, because he was such a good pitcher years
He
ago.
was.
Oh my god.
The downfall
Crazy.
for him was a few seasons ago. He had somewhat of an oblique injury, and
Yeah.
he pitched through it. the Mets actually tried to get him off the field once he said that he felt a little pull, and he was like, "No, I know my body. I'm good." He goes
Right.
out there, next pitch, completely tears the muscle off the bone. And ever since then, he has just not been the same.
Nah, yeah. It sucks, man.
It really
I kind of had high hopes when the Dodgers signed him. I'm like, okay, the Dodgers, it's like you said, they can develop their pitchers pretty good, man. And they know that he's not a top tier pitcher, but they can still work with it and make it work. And the fact that it hasn't panned out, man, it just maybe his stuff is just not there no more, dude.
it's not.
It,
I
and then
it's
it's like you say,
really not.
if you got him on your team, like yeah, I bye, bye, have a good one. Drop him.
Yeah. He's only 30 also, man.
Excuse me.
Like if I at 30 years old, you should still be in like the later years of your prime. And
Yeah.
this guy has just he's completely fallen off. He had the last time we saw him as a good starting pitcher was actually in 2018. So fast forward 5 years later, he's never had an ERA under 4 at the end of the season. So
Right.
I think he's done, especially after like what we've seen. Um, he actually has a career low walk rate this season, if that means anything. So his control is
It's
fine, but
like you
I
kind of did something good.
yeah, but his strikeout rate is the lowest of his career. Hard hit rate for hitters against him is actually at a career high. Expected batting average is at a 297. So, every third hitter he's allowing a hit. I think he's done.
Yeah.
I think it's time for baseball to just move on. You kind of mentioned maybe put him in the bullpen
Hmm.
um, for the Dodgers,
Maybe.
and
Hey,
I don't know.
that might be the role, that they might try to do with him, but I mean, if his stuff is not panning out, maybe having him in the bullpen is not the greatest
Yeah,
idea,
just
especially
leave him in the
if
IL.
you're
Just
if you're in a tight game, you want to dump him in there and he falls apart, but
yeah.
like you said, leave him in the IL.
Maybe they need to send Syndergaard to the rookie ball league
Rookie
like they
ball.
did with Manoa because
Yeah,
they
yeah.
actually have similar ERAs. Uh, Syndergaard's actually a little bit higher at a 7.16, more higher
Oh.
than Manoa at
Oh shit.
6.86, I think it was.
That's
Crazy, man.
crazy, man.
All right, let's go into those two-star pitchers. Unfortunately, next week we don't have the greatest options.
Oh man,
Usually we,
they're
we like to give
terrible.
you at least like two pitchers from Javi, two pitchers from myself to bolster your lineup for next week. And I feel like almost any one of these options, you're just going to shoot yourself in the foot. So
Yeah.
categories leagues, I would try to stay away from any of these two start options. You're really going to mess up your ERA and WHIP if it goes badly for you. Points leagues, I think we have some decent options for you. Javi, what's your
Yeah.
first one?
So the only bro, it's like we were talking about this before before the show started. And I literally told you this was probably the most horrible of the two-star pitchers you to choose from in the week that I've seen. I looked and looked and looked, and the only pitcher that I could see that could possibly come away 2-0 is Zach Greinke. You hear Zach Greinke's name now, and you're like, no way, the guy's washed, this and that. But if you look at his stats, um, I think last week he had one stinker. Before that, if you look at 2 weeks ago and beyond that, he's actually pretty decent. He's actually mid level. Um, he I mean the Royals don't win a lot of games, so you can't expect the wins to come. But as far as him going deep into games, going 5 6 innings, he's still a viable pitcher. Um, and he's been pretty decent for the Royals. If you look at those stats, so he has I believe it's the Angels and damn, what was the other team?
Let me
Um,
see. I think I have it here.
damn, I thought I wrote that shit down.
Nope. I closed that tab. Hold up. I can get it real quick.
It was like Angels and I want to say the Reds.
Yeah,
I
I
want to
think
say
you're right.
right. So I mean, even though we were talking about the Reds and how
Yeah.
their offense, they're young guys, their offense is putting it together and whatnot. I mean, shit, it's probably the closest thing that I would suggest to like this might work because I believe they're both home games for Greinke. Um, and sometimes I don't like to look at just the home and away aspect of a pitcher. You gotta see what they've done in previous games and things like that. And honestly, Greinke has been pretty decent aside from last week. I believe he didn't have such a great game. Before that, he's been pretty consistent, man. We play in a points league, and he's been right there between 10 and I want to say like 16, 17 points.
Yeah.
So he's been pretty decent, man. If he's there and you want to take a chance, I would do it, but tread lightly, because Granky, he's not that pitcher that he used to be, but he's been pretty good, recently. So that's kind of where I'm going at with my pick, just because he's been pretty consistent aside from last week's clunker that he had.
Yeah,
Um,
the last week, he gave up 5 earned runs against the Marlins. He only went 4.1 innings,
yeah,
and I don't even think that he's actually the one that gave up those 5 runs. I watched that game. I
maybe it was
watched
the
part of it
bullpen.
at least. Um, there we go. I watched part of it at least, and I believe that he was there through the 4th inning, got into the 5th, and allowed 3 base runners. So I think he loaded the bases, and then that's when the Royals manager actually took him out. So he was charged with those 3 runs because eventually they came around to score, but he actually only allowed those 2 earned runs. So unfortunately, maybe he could have gotten out of the jam himself
Yeah,
because. As you said, he had a few good starts before that. So actually, in May, he had a 2.30 ERA in 6 starts, 31 innings pitched, 25 strikeouts. So he's less than a strikeout per inning, but his whip is down at a .83 in May. So he's
yeah,
allowing less than a hit and a walk per inning. He looked actually really good in May, and he actually faced some pretty decent lineups. He faced the Orioles, the White Sox, the Brewers, the White Sox again. Good matchup against the Tigers, and then he faced the hot hitting Cardinals. So
yeah.
2.30 ERA in against those teams. That's nothing to that's not too shabby.
No, it's not.
Unfortunately, I think last week he was actually supposed to be a 2-star pitcher. I had him as a 2-star pitcher last week, but they bumped him from Monday to Tuesday. Um, Gave him an extra day of rest, and maybe that wasn't the best thing for him because he did end
Yeah,
up giving
yeah,
up 5 earned runs.
yeah. I agree, but like you said, I mean, he's pitched against pretty decent lineups, man.
Yeah.
So I mean, if he's there and you need somebody to like put you over, he might be the guy.
I would definitely say start them versus the Reds because they're not in Cincinnati, they're in Kansas City. And then as the week plays out, if you're desperate at the end of the week and you need those extra points, go ahead and start them against the Angels. If you feel like you're ahead and you don't really need that start, you know, drop them towards the end of the week and pick up someone else that you want to stream instead, just like
Yeah,
one of the weekend streamers
yeah.
possibly. But yeah, that's a decent option. Do you have another 2-star pitcher you want to talk about, or was that it?
No, that I mean, I look at the other pitchers, dude, and either their first matchup is great, but their second one is against like a really good offense. And it's like, I usually tend to look for somebody that can have an advantage against both teams, or you look for that one pitcher that's been hot and it don't matter who
Mhm.
he's pitching against, right?
Yeah.
And oh man, it's really hard. I like out of the bunch that are out there,
Yeah.
it's really hard to pick just that one guy. So this
Yeah,
was the
I had
only
a
dude
hard
that,
time
yeah, this
also.
was the only dude that kind of stood out for me that I was like, all right, he's been pretty good. So I mean, I could, if I was, somewhere at the bottom and I'm trying to win my games, I'll take a chance on the guy. Why not?
Yeah, especially in the league that's a little bit deeper, that there's not
Yeah.
really a lot of options out there. Now, Zach Greinke in Yahoo is only 10% owned, so he is
Yep.
widely available
Yep.
basically everywhere. So that's one option. I think I have a couple options. So my first one that I am actually very excited about right now is James Paxton. James Paxton was the former ace of the Mariners, and he's only 40% rostered. So he is pretty widely available also, a little bit less than Greinke. But James Paxton's actually been looking really good for the past few starts. ERA is a little bit inflated. It's a 381. But that's okay in a points league because you're looking for strikeouts and you're looking for limiting the walks.
He's with
One
the
earned
Red Sox,
run,
right? Red Sox,
yes,
right?
Red Sox. And the Red Sox have actually been winning some games. They're another team that's been playing some small ball.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
they'll have like a dinger every once in a while. Rafael Devers is really the only power hitter that they have, but they have a lot of guys that get on base.
Yeah, they do.
Uh, it's the bootleg Dodgers team with
Yeah.
Justin Turner and Verdugo and Kike Hernandez. Did you actually hear about Verdugo? So
Uh-uh.
Verdugo got benched in yesterday's game because he wasn't hustling on the base paths, and he ended up getting
Mm,
out when he could have been safe. So Alex Cora actually benched him. He's back in the lineup today,
huh.
but that is unfortunate for a younger player like Alex Verdugo. Like, why wouldn't you hustle? That's kind of like shades of Yasiel Puig, back in
Yeah.
the day,
Yeah. Yeah.
where the young player that just he thinks it's like a routine out, so he
Yep.
just doesn't run it out. Like, come
That's
on,
a good
man.
that's a good
Professional
comparison right there.
baseball. Let's
Yep.
just run the ball out every time. I don't need
Get
a
your
hard
shit right.
90. I don't need
Yeah.
a hard 90 every single time. What
Mm.
I need is a lot of effort, you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah. Well, it
Um,
shows that you wanna that you wanna win, man. I mean,
exactly.
come on, dude.
Yeah. James Paxton has Colorado and the Yankees, and this is going to be at home in Boston. So, if it was at Colorado and at Yankee Stadium, I would definitely not be endorsing
Yeah.
James Paxton. But because they're playing in Boston, right-handed hitters in Boston actually have an advantage if they can get the ball high enough over the monster. The monster is, the green monster is pretty tall.
Yeah.
But you don't have to hit the ball very high, very far to hit it over the monster. You just have to hit it high.
Right.
Very small sample size for James Paxton. He only has, um, where is it? 26 innings pitched so far. But he's getting a lot of whiffs on all his pitchers, and he has a four seam, a cutter, a curveball, and a changeup. And I was looking at his whiff percentage on each pitch that he's thrown this season, and he's actually very close to his 2017 numbers, where he was like Cy Young caliber, where he had a under 3 ERA.
Oh,
So I
shit.
really like James Paxton, and I really feel like if he can just stay healthy, that we could potentially see like a decent option that you don't even have to drop rest of season.
Yeah.
Maybe
Yeah.
if he stays healthy, he's one that could stay in your lineup all season.
Shit.
Definitely
Alright.
in deeper leagues, So if you're in a 12 team or deeper, I would try to pick up James Paxton if he's still available. That's my kind of like comeback pitcher of the year possibly.
Hmm.
Hopefully he'll pan out for the rest of the season and stay healthy. Uh,
Especially if the Red Sox can keep it going,
yeah,
and keep winning games. That's not bad. That's not a bad option.
yeah, I like Paxton. I used to like Paxton a lot. He didn't pitch at all last season, so that has me a little bit worried.
Right.
His 2021 was cut short, and then he didn't play at all in 2022. So I'm wondering how many innings he's actually going to be able to throw this season.
Mm.
I would assume that it's probably going to be close to about 120. Unfortunately, usually you want to see your starting pitchers throw 150 or more. It used to be
Right.
200 or more, but now that's like
Yeah,
almost
right.
unheard of. But
That's unheard of,
he did get
man.
a late start to the season, though. He only has 26 innings pitched so far, when most starting pitchers are about 40 or above. So
Yeah. Yeah.
maybe that'll help him out a little bit. So yeah, that was versus Colorado and versus the Yankees, and versus the Yankees, that's without Aaron Judge. Aaron Judge is still going to be on the IL by then.
Yeah,
And
that
all right,
yeah.
so
See it.
I do have one other option if you are very desperate in deeper leagues. Now, this is like the deepest of deep leagues where there's really nothing out there, and that's Zach Davies. Zach Davies
Mm,
is a incredible ground ball pitcher. He puts everything on the ground, doesn't allow a lot of home runs, doesn't really allow balls to be put in the air at all. He relies on his infield to field the ball, get it over to first base, and just get the easy out.
right.
He has versus the Phillies and versus Cleveland. So this is both starts are going to be in Arizona. ERA is pretty high, 4.68. But if you look at his expected numbers, he's actually at a expected ERA of 3.93. So
That's not too bad.
yeah, the
For
numbers
well, for
are
somebody like him, yeah.
for someone like him, because he's a ground ball pitcher, there's going to be a lot of room for error.
Right.
Unfortunately, he doesn't
Right.
strike out a lot of batters. He's not the best option out there, but I honestly believe that he is one of the best of the rest, one of the best of the worst. You know,
It's a bad week, man. Fuck.
yeah, he only has one pitch that he gets a lot of whiffs on, and that's his changeup. But if he has some good fastball command, that changeup can actually be an amazing pitch for him. He
Yeah.
doesn't have the hardest thrown pitches. None of his pitches top 90. But when you have a 77-mile-an-hour curve and a 81-mile-an-hour change to go along with your 90-mile-an-hour sinker, I feel like that's somewhat of a recipe for success, especially in Arizona where the ball doesn't travel as far.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, I agree.
so those are my two options. Oh, there are some comments that I didn't see. Let's see. Jose Velasquez says, "What's up, fellas? Damn, bro, you move."
No, I
Yeah,
did
man.
not.
That's Javi's penthouse
This
right
is my
there.
villa. It's my villa.
The dude's a millionaire now. Face blue smiling. I don't know what that means. Is that like an inside joke?
No, I think it's a emoji. He might be
Oh,
plugging in an emoji there.
no. I guess emojis don't work on StreamYard. Toshiba is still a beast.
He meant Yoshida.
Yeah, I assumed. Yeah, I do like Yoshida. Yoshida on the Red Sox. That's one. Points leagues. If Yoshida is available, try to acquire him. Not so much in categories leagues. Categories leagues, he's not the biggest home run hitter. He's not going to steal a lot of bases, but this guy is an on base machine. And
Yeah.
I really like Yoshida. Let's see. Oh, there you go. He corrected himself, Yoshida. Thanks for joining, Jose. Appreciate that. That's your brother, right?
Yeah, that's my bro.
You
What up,
bro.
bro?
Is that a California family member?
Nah, he actually stays in Arizona.
Oh,
Yeah.
ugh, Arizona. I went to Arizona once. I went to Lake Havasu, and
Mm.
we were like doing cliff diving and some crazy stuff. Back
Oh
when I was
shit.
a little bit in my younger days. Um, but dude, when I went, it was like 120 degrees 3 days in a row, and we were out on the boat. And when I got back home, my arms were covered in heat rash, dude. I have never had that
Ooh,
before.
damn.
Craziest thing. It was so itchy. It was kind of like a sunburn on steroids. There
Oh
were like
hell no.
little bumps and shit. It was
Yeah,
very annoying.
I don't do well with fucking sunburn. Fuck that.
It says, yeah, Arizona is gross. Stay indoors, man. I
Yeah.
remember like meeting some of the people over there, and I was like, how do you do it? How do you live in Arizona all the time? And they're like, everywhere you go, any doesn't matter where you live, everywhere has air conditioning. So I
Mm,
guess it's kind of like Vegas in
yeah,
that sense too,
right.
or Nevada in general.
Yeah.
Um, You got Tony laughing over here. But yeah, I guess it's like over here too. Like everywhere you go has air conditioning. It's not like in California.
Yeah.
California, it's like no one has central AC unless you like live in like a freaking big ass house and
Yup.
living in the hills and shit.
You got the fan sitting right next to the window, bro. That's just crazy.
All right. So we've basically we're already at an hour and 4 minutes, so we're kind of at the end of the show. I wanted to try to get to the weekend streamers, which is kind of like something that we do every week. Let's see. Boys, have you guys ever thought about doing about weekly power rankings? So not necessarily on the fantasy baseball show, but I will bring it up to Carlos because he does the main
Yeah.
he just focused on baseball news and everything that's kind of going around in baseball. So that's actually a really good uh really
Good idea.
good, what do you call it, recommendation. So I
Yeah.
will talk to Carlos and see if maybe he wants to kind of take that on, add that segment into his lineup every week. So let me get rid of this 2-star pitcher banner real quick. But yeah, I wanted to go into the weekend streamers, but unfortunately we're out of time. So if there's anyone out there that does have any questions about weekend streamers, you can
Yeah.
reach us at
Dump some questions in there.
realtalkbaseball@yahoo.com. You can comment on our YouTube videos. You can go to our Instagram, search Real Talk Baseball. Make sure you follow, subscribe, like, please,
All that
and
stuff.
all that stuff. Yeah, we're on basically every platform. We got Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, OnlyFans. No, just kidding. And YouTube.
We might need to, bro.
Yeah, YouTube is
We
is
get
our
hey, we
biggest
get
one
we get
that
Tony
we're
to run
trying
that.
to.
We'll get Tony on that one.
He's already on it. He's the one that runs our OnlyFans. I got an
Yeah,
Instagram.
right.
He has OnlyFans.
That'd be some shit.
Yeah, I'm sure Felix wants to join him on
There you
his
go.
OnlyFans.
Where
He's
you
his
at,
number one
Felix?
subscriber.
That's
All
what's
right,
up.
so let's see. We've got a couple more comments. I'd love to hear it from you guys. All right, well, maybe next week we can actually add that into our segment. Actually, I'm sorry. Next week I'm on vacation. I am
Yeah.
not going to be on the show. So, Javi, are you going to be able to handle the show on your own next weekend?
I don't know, man.
I
I
know
don't know about
it's a little scary when you're doing it by yourself.
that.
The first time I did the show by myself, I was like, I'm not talking to anybody. I'm just talking to myself, and it felt really weird. But
Yeah.
eventually, I got a little more comfortable. You know.
Yeah. Yeah, I gotta see. I might be able to, but we'll get into that.
There you go. Your brother's trying to get on with you.
There you go.
Yeah,
Yeah, but
if you guys want to get on, and or if you have anyone in mind that you wanted to get on the show with you, I'm actually going to be in LA visiting my family, and I think
thank
on that
you.
Friday we're going to Knott's Berry Farm, so
Mm,
we're going to be out like basically the whole day.
out and
So
about. Got it.
let's see. He says I'll pick your brain,
Yeah,
your genius fantasy baseball brain right there. Dude.
right.
All right. So for Real Talk Baseball, I am Will Power, and that was Javi the Commish. We are signing out. See you guys maybe next week. Definitely the
Maybe.
week after. Have a good one.
Um,